Hi and welcome to this second session on controlling projects and eliminating waste. In the first session, we looked at what are the three core components, and then we looked at more detail at the future state, the need for the desired business outcomes, business benefits and value, and outcomes dependency roadmap. One item we should add to what we said in relation to the future state was the need for the benefits to be maximized. Inadvertently, the way most business cases work, you only have to identify enough benefits to get a positive ROI or NPV or whatever you're using, and then you can stop looking for any more benefits. This leaves all the remaining available benefits on the table unidentified and unlikely to be delivered. We found that that's normally a minimum of 25% of the potential value of the project, a minimum of 25%. In some cases, it's been 80% of the potential value. So maximizing your business benefits is a critical aspect of the business benefits and value control. That you actually say, well, if we're going to incur the pain, the cost, the time, the effort of putting in this project, we might as well get the value as well. And we might as well get all the value rather than only part of it. Otherwise, you'd be like buying, say, a 5-bedroom house and only ever using 3 bedrooms because you couldn't be bothered to walk down the corridor to use the rest. So in this session, we're going to focus on the current state. This is sometimes referred to as the as-is. And it is usually skimped, rushed, or not done to the level of detail required. What you need is a complete, detailed identification of the current state. Pseudo-process charts of functional sub-processes are produced which are such high level and often deficient because they don't capture all the variations, exceptions, problems, and other issues that actually drive work and waste today. For example, I recently saw a 12-box process chart for an asset repair process. When this process was defined in detail, with all of the problems identified, like the fact they kept being given the wrong drawings, the process chart went up to 12 pages in length. Not 12 boxes, 12 pages. Now your reaction to that may be, we don't want to spend so much time on the past. But it's not the past. It is the present. It is where you're changing from. And if you don't know your current state in detail, you are guaranteed to waste money, substantial money. This skimping on the definition of the current state is often aided and abetted, if not commanded, by the business in the mistaken belief that they should be focusing on the future and not on what they consider the past. Current state is where you have to change from. It's not the past, but your present, your starting point. Any gaps in your knowledge of the current state will come back as gaps in your implementation. This will cause your projects to waste time and go over budget and under-deliver. You need to know your current state in detail. This is so important. You need to see detailed, end-to-end, step-by-step process charts of every process, sub-process, sub-sub-process, warts, variations, exceptions, and all. Why? Because everything you do today has to be either eliminated or accommodated in your future solution. Think about this as it's an essential point, and ignorance of this is a major reason why projects waste so much time and money. Everything you do today has to be either eliminated or accommodated in the future. If you don't know your current state in detail, you can't know if your solution is comprehensive and will work. And we've all seen far too many projects that are not comprehensive and don't work on implementation. Remember our 40% worse off rate, because they've skimped on defining the current state. In a bank recently that was implementing a new expenses control system, they were 60% through the project before someone remembered that the top executive's expenses went through a completely different process that this new system did not support. This should have been picked up at the beginning, not near the end. The result was a whole lot of time wasted trying to retrofit this so-called new requirement into the existing solution. So you really need to spend the time to define in detail, step by step, all the variations, everything that exists in your current state. Now, your staff don't know the current state off the top of their heads, as most of their work is done by habit and routine. They therefore need to be helped to make the current state conscious and then comprehensively document it. And your staff can do this better than any business analysts, contractors or consultants, which also reduces your costs of delivery. They know the business, maybe not consciously, but there are techniques very simply for bringing this to the fore so they can define the current processes and therefore do that better than most consultants. When you know your current state in detail, then you can simplify it, not just improve it. Processes evolve and mutate at an astonishing speed. In one organisation, we reviewed a collection of processes that had been designed from scratch 2 years earlier. The original designer did not recognise any of his processes, just 2 years later. That's how fast processes can change, rarely for the better. So the opportunity is to simplify. Acceptance of marginal improvements like 10-15% improvements in the processes is just not good enough. We have regularly achieved more than 40% reduction in the number of processes and process steps. That measure is after we've done the first level of improvements. So we're actually achieving more than this, but 40% is the figure we have regularly achieved. And this level of simplification translates into about a 20% reduction in both project and operating costs. A 20% reduction in both project and operating costs because we've removed the complexity, because we've removed the need to train people in processes that don't need to exist. We've removed the need for the system to support processes that don't need to exist. So not achieving this level of simplification is to waste the opportunity to radically improve the business and incurs additional wasted expenditure on processes, process steps, training, systems configuration and testing that should no longer exist. So only when you control the detailed definition of your current state can you move forward with any certainty that your solution will work. Remember the 40% of projects that leave organisations worse off than before they started. This is because they haven't defined their current state sufficiently. Your current state is a starting point for your subsequent change program. It is the state from where you are changing to achieve your desired business outcomes. To be in control, ensure you always know your current state in detail. Do not skimp on this critical step. It is a core control and prerequisite for success. It lowers the costs, lowers the time, avoids waste, and increases the value. And that can't be bad. In the next session, we'll look at changes, and this will be surprising to many.